I put $600 on my credit card for a cabin I'd never seen because I could already picture my mum's face when she saw the lake. My name is Catherine Crawford. I'm 30, and I work as a pharmacy tech at a chain store on the south side of Austin. I rent a small one-bedroom off Stastny with a stubborn window unit and a balcony that's really just a railing. My sister Krista is 27 and lives downtown with roommates. Our mum, Eleanor, is 56. She remarried when I was in college. Duncan is 58, kind in a quiet way and allergic to arguments. We're Texas people who pretend we don't mind the heat and then plot escapes to water the second June rolls around. Mum's birthday falls on a Saturday this year, June 22nd. Everyone actually had the day free. Krista's brunch shift got covered. My schedule at the pharmacy was clear if I asked early. Duncan doesn't work weekends. So I started looking at lake places the week before, during my lunch breaks. I wanted something with a porch and morning shade, and a dock close enough that Mum wouldn't have to climb down sketchy rocks in sandals. I spent 2 nights scrolling. I read every review like it was homework. Noise complaints, AC issues, those photos that hide mildew with good angles. I found a place on the Spicewood side of Lake Travis with 4 real beds, a little kitchen, and a deck that faced the water. The host had dozens of clean reviews. The total for 2 nights was steep, but the deposit to hold it was $600, and I could float that until we split the cost. If it meant Mum waking up to water on her birthday, it felt worth it. I checked the dates again, Friday the 21st to Sunday the 23rd, and clicked book. The confirmation email hit my inbox at 6:18 p.m. on Monday the 17th. I didn't read the fine print beyond booked and the address. I was already imagining coffee steaming on that deck. I opened a new group text and added Mom, Krista, and Duncan. I pasted the link to the cabin and typed, "Found a good one for Mum's birthday weekend, June 21st and 23. I can handle the deposit. We can split the rest later." I added a smiley face, then deleted it, then added it back. I've learned that tone matters with this crew. Mum replied first. 3 red hearts and thank you, with that little sparkle emoji she discovered last year and never stopped using. I could see her on the couch in Round Rock, glasses halfway down her nose, beaming at her phone. Duncan followed with, "Looks perfect. Thanks, kiddo." He calls both of us that. Krista's typing dots pulsed and went away, then came back. She finally sent, "OMG love. Could Olivia and Hayden maybe swing by? They'll be out on their boat anyway." Then a second message. "If they decide to stay a night, is that okay? They can bring air mattresses." I leaned back on my couch and stared at the ceiling. This is how it always happens with her. Start small, sounds reasonable. Swing by means hours, and maybe stay means they stay, and somehow I end up washing extra dishes while she gets credit for making the weekend fun. I typed slow. "We can talk about it if the head count stays reasonable. It's Mum's birthday and the place has a max." I checked the listing again. Max 8 posted in bold. She added a sobbing laugh emoji. "Babe, it's not a rager, just chill vibes." Mum chimed back in before I could say anything else. "Whatever you all decide is fine by me. I'm just excited to be together." Then 3 more hearts and a cake emoji. I felt my shoulders drop an inch. Okay, the big pieces were set. We had a place. The dates were locked. I started a little list on my phone. Grocery basics, bug spray, paper towels, a cake pickup, stuff I could handle without turning it into a committee. I texted, "I'll grab breakfast stuff and maybe pasta for Saturday night. We can do sandwiches for lunch on the deck." Duncan hit a thumbs up. Krista didn't respond right away. Around 8, while I packed my lunch for the next day, the text tone pinged again. "Krista, I told them it's cool to swing by Saturday afternoon. They'll bring their cooler. They'll probably just crash wherever if it gets late. No stress." I wiped my hands on a dish towel and stared at that "told." I wasn't going to get baited into a fight over semantics in the family chat. I replied, "Let's cap overnight guests at what the listing allows. I don't want to risk the host kicking us out." That was true and neutral. I sent Mom a separate text. I'm excited. I think you'll love the deck. She sent back, I love anything with you. Then another sparkle. I took a quick shower and laid out my scrubs. My friend Daria, who I carpool with sometimes, was off Tuesday, so I'd drive myself. I set my alarm for 6:15. The confirmation email was still unread on my phone, sitting between a coupon from the craft store and a reminder to refill someone's statin. I was tired but buzzy, the kind of hum that happens when you feel like you pulled off something grown up and good. Before bed, I scrolled through the cabin photos one more time. The water was low like it always is in June, but the dock looked reachable. The listing mentioned a coffee maker that used grounds, not pods. I pictured Mom in her white robe, feet up, sun just starting to warm the planks. It made me smile into my pillow. I fell asleep feeling like I'd done something right, like all the logistics and the money and the I'll handle it had finally added up to the look on my Mom's face I'd been chasing since we were kids. The next morning, I woke up removed from the group chat I'd created. My alarm went off at 6:15, and the first thing I saw was the grey line in the group thread. You were removed from the conversation. It stamped a time, 12:41 a.m., like a little receipt. Above it, the last thing still visible was Krista renaming the thread to Lake Weekend Official and a photo of the deck I'd sent. Everything after the removal was just empty white. I stared at it long enough for the screen to dim, then woke it up again and scrolled my messages like maybe it would pop back if I looked hard enough. Nothing. No new badges from the group I'd made, just a fresh text from Krista by itself. Hey, can you house sit the dog that weekend? My stomach went tight in that way it does at work when a customer says, actually, and is about to unload. I typed, what's going on? And watched the dots bubble and disappear twice before a reply came in. It's just easier this way. Easier than what? Easier than saying, hey, I want my friends to take over and I don't want to argue about it? The kettle clicked off. I poured boiling water over the same grocery store coffee I keep in a jar and tried to decide if this was a mistake, a butt dial removal, or a test to see if I'd just roll with it. I started to type, easier for who? Then deleted it. Instead, you removed me from the group I started. Are you still planning to use the cabin I booked? More dots. We're all in one place now. Less confusing? I'll loop you in on what you need to bring, and yes, obviously the lake. I could hear her voice in my head, cheerful and managerial, like she was delegating at an event she forgot to pay for. I looked at the time. 6:28. If I didn't leave by 6:45, I'd hit traffic by the river and end up cutting it close for the 7 a.m. opening. I thought about calling Mom, trying to catch her before she started her day, but I pictured her at the kitchen table in Round Rock, coffee cup by her elbow, tugged into a referee shirt before she'd even had toast. I put my phone face down and went to brush my teeth. On my way back, I flipped the phone over and opened the email I hadn't read the night before. Subject, your reservation is confirmed. The listing name, the dates, June 21st, 23. My name at the top, my card's last 4 digits. I scrolled to the policy because suddenly that felt like the only thing with edges I could hold. Cancellation. Full refund if cancelled within 48 hours of booking, minus a non-refundable $50 service fee. The timestamp on the booking was right there. Monday, June 17th, 6 to 18 p.m. I did the math without meaning to. I had until Wednesday at 6:18 p.m. to decide if I was going to let my card fund a weekend I wasn't invited to. I stared at the $50 line until my coffee went cool. Krista sent another text while I pulled on my shoes. Also, if you can grab paper plates and maybe a fruit tray, I'm slammed this week. I answered, I'm not running errands for a trip I'm not on. If plans change, you need to handle logistics. No dots this time. Just silence. Traffic was already building on Ben White when I merged, so there was too much time to think. At a red light, I put my phone in the console so I wouldn't be tempted to open anything and get honked at. At the store, I slid my badge on, and nodded at the opener from front end. The morning rush started with an insured inhaler and a refill too soon to bill. It was almost a relief to solve problems that had rules. Around 9, between a prior auth call and counting lisinopril, my phone buzzed in my scrub pocket. I stepped back to the little back hallway where we keep the mop sink and checked. Mum, what time do we need to leave on Friday? Should I pack a sweater for the porch? I leaned against the wall and typed, I'll send details soon. Then I put the phone away. I knew if I told her right then, she'd call Krista, and then we'd be passing a hot potato back and forth all day. I needed to decide what I was willing to do before I handed anyone else my panic. At lunch, I sat in my car with the AC on low and opened the reservation again. I clicked through every line like reading it different would make unicorn terms appear. Nope. My name, my card, my window. I scrolled past the photo of the dock and the list of house rules to the cancellation button, just to see if it really existed. It did, sitting there like an exit sign. I ate my sandwich and watched a dad in a sun visor shepherd 2 kids past the pharmacy doors. When my break was up, I tucked the phone back in my pocket. The rest of the day moved in fits. Someone cried at the counter, the printer jammed, the pharmacist asked if I could stay a half hour late. I said yes, out of habit. Driving home, I called no one. At a stoplight near my apartment, my phone lit with a message from Krista. Don't make this a thing. Just be helpful. I locked the screen again and went upstairs to my stubborn window unit and the quiet. I put my keys in the bowl, sat on the edge of the couch, and said into the empty room, what's actually easier for me? The only answer was the hum of the AC and that clock in my head, counting down from 48 hours. By morning, the clock in my head had a number, 6:18 p.m. That was the edge of the cliff. Work helped. The opener called out sick, so I was counting pills and printing labels without much time to ruminate. Still, every time my phone buzzed in my scrub pocket, my chest tightened. None of the buzzes were Krista. None were Mum. It was coupons and a delivery delay on insulin and the bank telling me I'd spent $23.17 at the grocery store yesterday. Normal. At 11:53, I told the pharmacist I was taking lunch and slipped outside to the strip of shade by the dumpster, where the smell is bad, but no one follows you with one more thing. I pulled up the reservation on my phone and read the policy twice, lips moving like I was back in school. Full refund within 48 hours of booking, minus a non-refundable $50 service fee. I scrolled down to make sure there wasn't a second fee hiding in different words. There wasn't. It even said refunds post in 3 to 5 business days to the original payment method. I tapped Daria's name and she answered on the second ring. What's up? I took a breath. I put the deposit down for the Lake Place Monday. Krista removed me from the group and asked if I could house sit her dog. She's still planning to use the cabin. There was a tiny silence, like she was deciding if she should swear. And there's a 48-hour cancellation window, $50 non-refundable. The rest would go back to my card. I feel petty if I cancel, but also, am I, sponsoring a party I'm not invited to? If they cut you out, they can plan and pay without you. She said it like she was reading the label on a bottle. Then softer. That's not petty. That's normal. You're not refusing to celebrate your mum. You're refusing to be staff. I looked at my shoes, dusty from the parking lot. Mum texted asking about sweaters for the porch. She doesn't know. That part sucks. But her not knowing is not on you. It's on the person who made it a secret. Daria blew air like she was cooling her lunch. Call the place. Confirm the policy. Then do what you tell a patient to do with an expired prescription. Don't use it. I laughed, short. Okay, thanks. Text me when you cancel so I can clap at my desk, she said, and hung up. I pulled up the listing and found the host's number. It routed to a property manager with a cheerful recorded greeting, and then a real person named Lacey. I gave her my reservation number and my name. She pulled it up and said, Catherine, yes, for the weekend of the 21st. Can I ask about the cancellation policy? I said. It says 48 hours from booking gets a full refund minus a $50 platform fee. That's correct, she said. I could hear typing. You booked Monday at 6:18 p.m., so you have until Wednesday at 6:18 p.m. If you cancel before then, you'll see $550 refunded to the card on file in about 3 to 5 business days. Okay. My thumb rubbed the edge of my phone. And if the group still wants the cabin, can they transfer it? We don't transfer names on reservations, she said, matter of fact. They'd need to book a new reservation in their own name, if the dates are still available. They're not, I said, and she made a sympathetic sound. Do you want me to cancel it now over the phone? She asked. I looked at the time. 12:07. My lunch break clock counted down in my head the way the other one had been. I'll do it through the app. Thank you for confirming. Of course, she said. Anything else I can help with? No, I said, and we hung up. I sat in my car with the engine off because the hum made me feel like there was movement when there wasn't. I thought of Mum's robe and the lavender foot-soaked coupon burning a hole in my drawer, how easy it is to say yes to being helpful, and how hard it is to realize you're saying yes to disappearing. I said it out loud so it would feel like a decision. I'm not doing their chores while they erase me. Then I opened the reservation page and tapped Cancel. It asked me to choose a reason. I selected Change of Plans because removed from family group chat by my sister wasn't an option. It showed me the numbers again. $550 back. $50 kept. I hit confirm. A progress circle spun. My reflection in the black screen looked like someone waiting for biopsy results. Then the page refreshed. Reservation cancelled. I flipped to email. A new message landed. Cancellation confirmation. It listed the dates that were now empty, my name, the refund amount, the note about 3 to 5 business days, and the sentence about the $50 service fee being non-refundable. I took a photo of the screen, just in case. My phone buzzed with a reminder from the pharmacy app that someone's antibiotics were ready. I put the phone face down on the passenger seat and sat there for one more breath before going back in. The window had closed cleanly, and for once I was the one who closed it. I finished my shift on autopilot and drove home with the AC blowing warm until it caught up. The cancellation email sat near the top of my inbox, crisp and official, like it wanted to be used. I put my bag on the counter, took a picture of the confirmation, and opened a text to Krista. I pasted the email header and wrote, "Since I'm not attending, I removed my card. Please rebook in your name." The 3 dots appeared, paused, disappeared. Came back, disappeared. The quiet stretched so long, I rinsed a glass and filled it, drank half and put it down without remembering to use a coaster. 10 minutes later, my phone vibrated 3 times in a row. Are you serious? Childish. Just rebook it, Catherine. I stared at Just, the way she always makes work sound like flicking a light switch. I typed, I'm not rebooking anything I don't control. The reservation was in my name. I cancelled within the window. No response. Then a new number popped up. We can just transfer it, babe. I texted back, who is this? Even though I could guess. Olivia. Hi. We'll just swap the name. Super easy. I took a screenshot of the policy and the line about no name transfers and sent it. It's in my name. You're welcome to book your own place. The dots ran again on Krista's thread. Nothing came out. I put my phone face down on the counter and stood there with my hands on the cool laminate, listening to my window unit hum, and the upstairs neighbour shut a cabinet too hard. It didn't stay quiet. A minute later, a wall of messages hit. Wow. Over $50? You seriously need to get over yourself. Mum is going to be devastated. The $50 jab made me snort, even as my cheeks burned. I typed, the $50 is the platform fee, the $550 comes back to me. If you wanted to handle it differently, you could have kept me in the planning. Another new number chimed in, with just a thumbs down reaction to my screenshot. Probably Hayden. Then from Krista, you're being punitive. I sat on the couch and let that word float there. I thought about the click at 12:41 a.m. when she removed me, and the text about house-sitting her dog like she'd moved me to a different department. I typed, "I'm setting a boundary. You removed me from the trip I planned and paid for. Handle your own logistics. No dots." A minute later, my phone lit with a call. Krista. I let it ring once before I answered. "Hey." Her voice came out bright and soft at the same time, a tone she uses with customers at the restaurant when a table complains about a draft. "Okay." Deep breath. "This is spinning out. You know I'm slammed this week. It was just easier to have everything in one place." "You cancelling is not helpful? I'm not part of the one place you made," I said. "I'm not paying for it." "You're making this about you," she said. The sweet dialing down, the sharp dialing up. "It's Mum's birthday." "Yes," I said. "Which is why I booked a place with a deck and texted everyone, and then you took it over and removed me." "I didn't remove you," she said, like the quotes were visible. I started a new thread because Olivia and Hayden needed to be looped in, and you always make it a thing when I add people. "You removed me at 12:41 a.m, I said. "My phone has the receipt." She exhaled into the phone in that way that means she's about to pivot. "Fine. I'll put it on my card and you send me the money back." "No," I said. "I cancelled the reservation. They don't transfer. If you want the lake, you'll have to book something in your name." Silence. Then a laugh that didn't sound like a laugh. "Oh my God. You're going to make me call around 2 days before? Everything is booked." "I guess that's part of planning," I said. I kept my tone even. It felt better than I expected, like balancing a tray after someone tried to stack one more plate. Another silence. I imagined her in her apartment, pacing between the high stools and the couch she found on Facebook Marketplace, phone to her ear, lip tucked between her teeth, while she waited for me to flinch first. I didn't. "Send me the $50, she tried. "That's the fee for using the platform," I said. "Tuition? What does that even mean?" "It means I'm not paying to be excluded," I said. "I'll celebrate Mum. I'm not running logistics for your guest list." A TV murmured somewhere on her end. She said, suddenly syrupy again, "Fine, but you just ruined Mum's birthday?" Thursday started with Austin already sticky. I made coffee and pretended my phone wasn't there until I had to check the time. No new messages from Mum. 2 from Krista. "Working on it. Everything is booked." I slid the phone back down and ate toast over the sink. My shift started at 7. The store lights felt too bright after the grey hallway outside the pharmacy, and I welcomed the mindless parts. Scan, count, cap, bag. By 9, the front-end manager tapped the glass and mouthed, "Phone." I stepped into the mop sink corridor and checked. Krista. "Found 2 rooms in Marble Falls. 30-something minutes, but whatever. We'll make it cute." Then a second message. A screenshot of a boat rental site with a list of names and "You're number 8 on the wait list" at the top. Her caption. "We'll figure something out." It had that tone that always assumes I'll fix the rest. I typed, "Hope it works out," and put the phone away. My hands shook a little when I picked up the pill counter again, but the rhythm came back. At noon I ate the salad I'd packed in my car, AC cranked, and scrolled through nothing on purpose. A Venmo notification popped up at the top of the screen. Hayden Craig requested $50. Note. Fee. I clicked into it and saw his profile picture, sunglasses, a lake behind him, and the little blue button that said pay. I hit decline, no comment, and locked my phone. It buzzed a second later. Hayden. "It's just the platform fee. Be a team player." I didn't respond. If they wanted to divide by the number of people in their team, it would be their math to do without my card. The rest of the afternoon was normal, in that people still need blood pressure meds, even when family group texts implode. Daria peeked into the back, on her way to break, and mouthed, "Well?" I lifted my thumb and tilted it sideways. She grinned and said, "Progress," and kept going. On my last hour, the pharmacist asked if I could close a drawer on the safe because it was sticking. I leaned in and thought about how many steps there are to do anything right. Codes, counts, signatures, and how easy it is to skip one because you think you're special. I signed my initials and clocked out at 3:31. Traffic was a mess on 71. A stalled truck blocked a lane by the river and 2 kayaks rode high on someone's roof like they were taunting everyone trapped under the sun. I took the long way home, through neighbourhoods with sprinklers hissing, and stopped at the thrift store because I needed to be somewhere that felt unrelated to all of it. I found a mason jar with a chip on the rim and a cheap wicker basket. I put both on my passenger seat like they were a plan. Back at my apartment, my window unit fought the heat, and the upstairs neighbour dropped something that sounded like a bowling ball. I opened the fridge, stared, and decided cereal counted as dinner. My phone buzzed on the counter. Krista. We got 2 queens at the Hillview off 281. 35 minutes tops. I'm grabbing the cake Saturday morning. I typed, okay, and deleted sounds good because it didn't. I set the phone face down and turned on the small lamp in the corner. The light made my place feel less like a waiting room. Around 9, I was halfway through folding a pile of towels I'd ignored all week when Mum's name lit up my screen. I let it ring once so I wouldn't answer too fast. Hi, sweetheart, she said. I could hear the clink of a spoon in a mug. I can't find the cabin info. Do I meet you there, or are we riding together? Duncan said to ask you. The prickly feeling rose from my chest to my face in a blink. I sat on the arm of the couch so my voice wouldn't wobble. I'm not in that group, Mum, I said, steady. A little pause. What do you mean? Krista started a new thread without me, I said. I cancelled the reservation because it was on my card and I wasn't invited. Silence, but not the bad kind. I imagined her at the table in Round Rock, glasses low, eyes on the placemat she bought at H-E-B. Oh, she said, soft. I didn't know. I've just been getting little bits. I thought you two were arranging. We were, I said. And then we weren't. Another small sound on her end, a breath she held and let go. Okay, she said. Well, I want to see you. I want to see you too, I said. The words felt like cool water. Do you want me to pick you up in the morning and we'll make our own plan? There was a pause on the line, just enough for me to hear her sip. Tomorrow I've got a hair appointment, Mum said. Pick me up Saturday morning? We'll have the whole day. Saturday, I said. I'll be there. Friday slid by in the way days do when you're holding your breath. I cleaned the kitchen, ran a load of towels I'd ignored all week, and tucked the thrift store mason jar into the dish rack to dry. I stayed off my phone. No new text from Krista, none from Mum except a little heart in response to Saturday. At 6:42 a.m. Saturday, my phone buzzed like it was ringing off the nightstand. Krista, can you pick up the cake from Sunflower Bakery and bring the gift bags from Mum's to the motel? We're at the Hillview off 281 room 214. I stared at the ceiling for a second, then typed, I'm celebrating Mum, but I'm not running errands for a trip I wasn't invited to. The dots flashed. It's literally her cake. I'm not your courier, I wrote. Make a plan that doesn't rely on me. No reply. 2 minutes later, my screen lit with Duncan's name. I answered on the second ring. Morning, kiddo, he said, voice warm like a worn sweater. I wanted to check in. Let's keep this from getting bigger than it needs to be. I sat up and swung my feet to the floor. I hear you. I think the way to keep it small is for Krista to own her choices. She made a plan that didn't include me. She needs to handle the logistics. A soft huff. She's upset. Says things got twisted. They didn't, I said. She removed me and asked me to house-sit her dog. He was quiet then. I'm sorry you were put in that position. Thanks, I said. I'm picking up Mum at 9. We're doing our own thing. Good, he said. She'll like that. I could hear the TV low in the background on his end, some morning show babbling about weather. I'll talk to Krista. Please do, I said. After we hung up, I showered, pulled on shorts and a soft tee, and set my wicker basket on the counter. I drove to H-E-B when the automatic doors were still wiping night air off their frames and grabbed a bunch of cheap sunflowers, a baguette, deli turkey, a hunk of cheddar, and a little container of olives, the kind Mum pretends she buys for parties and then eats standing at the counter. Back home, I trimmed the flowers and tucked them in the mason jar. They made the chipped glass look intentional. I dug the $25 foot soak coupon out of the drawer, the one from the nail place by the river that puts slices of lemon in the water like it's a cocktail. I called and asked if they took walk-ins. "If you're here by 11, the girl said. "It gets busy after lunch." Perfect. I layered sandwiches into the basket, tossed in napkins and 2 canned iced teas, and slid the jar of flowers into the passenger footwell so it wouldn't tip. My apartment felt cooler than the hallway for the first time all week. The drive up to Round Rock was easy at that hour. Just a few delivery trucks and a stand of clouds already burning off. I pulled into Mum's driveway at 8:58. Duncan was in the garage, shifting a cooler from one shelf to another like it needed rearranging to feel useful. He looked up and smiled, tired at the edges. "There she is," he said, and came out to take the flowers from me. "Pretty?" "Thanks," I said. "Hi." Mum came down the hall in her sandals and a simple blue dress she wears on church days and birthdays. When she saw me, she didn't ask anything. She just wrapped her arms around me and held on longer than usual, her cheek warm against my temple. "Happy birthday," I said into her shoulder. "Best present," she said, letting go but keeping a hand on my arm. "Let me grab my bag." I set the jar on the kitchen counter. There, leaned in the corner, were 3 glossy gift bags, tissue paper puffed like frosting. Krista's text made sense. I felt the pull to help the way a magnet finds metal and stepped around it. Duncan walked us out. "You'll have fun," he said, eyes flicking between us. "Text when you get where you're going." "We will," Mum said. She slid into my passenger seat, the flowers tucked by her feet. As we pulled away, she waved back, then turned to me and smiled, like we were about to sneak out of school. We took the back roads to avoid the worst of I-35. The sky was a hard blue, the kind that looks like nothing can go wrong. We passed a field where someone had propped a broken trampoline against a fence, and Mum laughed at it for no reason, except that it looked silly. A few minutes in, she cleared her throat and set her hand on my forearm lightly, like she was asking permission. "I need to ask you something," she said, eyes still on the road ahead, "and I need you to tell me the truth." "Is this about the lake?" I asked, eyes on the road. She looked out the window at the pastures sliding by. "Did Krista cut you out?" "Let's park and I'll tell you everything," I said. "I don't want to do this while I'm driving." We ended up on the south side, near the trail where the wind off the water actually moves. I backed into a spot under a pecan tree and carried the basket to a patch of shade with a view of rowers skimming by. Mum spread a napkin on her lap like we were at a table. I handed her half a turkey sandwich. "Okay," I said. "Monday night I booked the cabin. I put the deposit on my card. Tuesday after midnight, I woke up removed from the group I made. Krista texted me separately to house-sit her dog." Mum's eyebrows lifted a notch. She didn't say anything, just took a bite and waited. I asked what was going on, I said. She said it was easier that way. I opened the confirmation email and saw I had 48 hours to cancel. I called the manager to confirm, so I cancelled within the window. The $50 fee stays with the platform. The rest comes back to me. I told Krista to rebook in her name if she wanted the lake. Mum took that in without flinching. A jogger's dog shook water nearby and spat at our shins. She wiped her leg with the corner of her napkin and asked, "Did she tell me?" "No," I said. "She told me I was ruining your birthday. Then she found motel rooms and asked me this morning to pick up the cake and drop gift bags at the motel." Mum gave a small, tired laugh at that. "Of course she did." "I didn't want to dump all this on you," I said. "I know how it feels when it turns into choosing sides. I just couldn't keep paying and running around while being treated like I'm on staff." She folded the rest of her sandwich back in the paper and set it on her knee. For a second, She watched a dragonfly stitch the air. "You did the right thing," she said. "You told the truth with your actions." My throat loosened. I handed her the iced tea and we clinked cans like kids. The sun was climbing and I checked my phone. 10:38. "We've got time to walk to the nail place and do the foot soak before it gets busy," I said. We strolled along the trail at the pace Mom keeps when she's not trying to prove anything, pausing to look at turtles lined up on a log. The nail place was cool inside, TV murmuring a soap in the corner. Lemon slices floated in pitchers by the door. The girl at the desk smiled like she remembered our call. "You made it before 11, she said. "Pick your soak." We chose lavender. They settled us into big chairs and poured warm water over our ankles. The salt turned the water a pale purple that made Mom giggle. "It's like we're tinting our toes," she said. My phone buzzed in my bag on the floor. I let it go once, twice, then peeked. "Krista, you stole Mom." Another buzz. "We planned brunch." The third. "This is spiteful." I set the phone face up on the arm of the chair so it wouldn't ring against the floor again. Mum glanced at it, then at me. "Hand it here," she said. "You sure?" I asked. She held out her palm. I passed it to her. She scrolled once, hit call on Krista's name and pressed speaker. It rang twice. On the other end, a TV blared and someone shushed someone. "Hey," Krista answered, cautious. "Hi, sweetheart," Mom said. Voice even. "You uninvited your sister and didn't tell me. Do not make this my problem." There was a beat where I could picture Krista standing in a motel room, hand over the mic, eyes darting. Olivia's voice came muffled. "Is that Eleanor?" Then the TV volume dropped. Krista came back smaller. "Okay. I love you," Mum said. "I will see you later, but you don't get to rewrite what happened. Enjoy your brunch." "Okay," Krista said again. The line clicked dead. Mum set the phone back on the armrest like it was just a remote. We sat with our feet in purple water while the techs brought warm towels. Outside, a runner's laugh floated through the door every time it opened. She reached over and squeezed my hand, thumb rubbing a little circle the way she used to when I was nervous before a test. "This," she said, smiling at me, "is what I want for my birthday. No more secrets." I exhaled a laugh I hadn't realised I was holding. "We can do that," I said. After, we paid and walked back slow. The sunflowers in the car had opened a little more, faces craned. We split the rest of the sandwich by the river cross-legged on the grass, watching a boat make a clean arc under the bridge. My phone stayed quiet. Mum leaned her head on my shoulder for a minute, like she needed the rest and the weight both. We didn't plan anything else. We didn't need to. We drove back to Round Rock in that late afternoon lull where the light makes everything look softer than it is. I walked Mum to the door with the mason jar and the leftovers. Duncan met us in the entryway and kissed her on the forehead. He looked at me and said quietly, "Thank you," like he meant more than the sandwiches. "I'll call you tomorrow," Mum said, squeezing my hand. "Go put your feet up." On my way down the driveway, she called after me, "I love you," and I tossed it back over my shoulder. It landed easy. At home, I put the basket on the counter and kicked off my sandals. My phone lit with a burst of posts. Krista had put a sunset on her story from somewhere that could have been any lake, captioned, "Family is what you make it." Olivia reposted with 3 hearts. I clicked to my profile and saw my follower count drop by 1. When I searched her name, it said, "Follow back." I exhaled through my nose and set the phone down. Mum texted around 8. Dinner with them was fine. Short. Cake was a little dry. I'm going to bed early. Thank you for today. A heart after every sentence. Sleep good, I wrote. Love you. Sunday was errands and laundry. I took out the trash, wiped down my counters, and returned Daria's missed call. "How'd it go?" she asked. "Better than I hoped," I said. "She told Krista to stop making her the referee. At the nail place. On speaker." Daria laughed out loud. "Icon." In the afternoon, Duncan texted, "Can we talk?" I called him back from my balcony, where the heat made the railing warm under my forearms. I wanted to apologize, he said. I should have stepped in sooner. I've let keeping the peace mean letting Krista steamroll. That's on me. Thank you, I said. I know it's not easy. We love you, he said. That part shouldn't get lost. It didn't, I said, and meant it. Monday at work, Daria met me in the break room with a powdered donut like it was a medal. For Valor, she said. I showed her the refund email that had popped in that morning. Your refund is on the way. Pending credit on my card, $550. The $50 still gone, a line item that looked like a lesson. Tuition, she said, nodding. On my lunch, I added something to my calendar. Coffee plus walk with Mum. I set it for the first Saturday of every month at 9 a.m, red heart emoji so it would pop. My phone asked if I wanted it to repeat. I hit yes. Tuesday afternoon, while I was labeling a new patient's bag, Krista finally called. I let it ring twice, then stepped into the hallway. I didn't think you'd care, she said, skipping hello. You always act like the lake is a chore. I care about Mom, I said, and I care about not being erased. A little scoff. I don't erase you. You removed me from the group I made, I said. You told me to house sit your dog. You added your friends without asking. If that's how you want to plan, fine, but I won't plan, pay, or drive. You're being dramatic, she said, but it came out softer than before, like she'd run out of sharp edges. I'm being clear, I said. Here's what I need going forward. If I'm included, I'm treated with respect. If I'm not, I'm out. No errands, no cards on file, no last-minute rescues. She was quiet. In the background, I could hear a drawer slide and shut. So you're not going to send me the 50? No, I said. That was the fee to learn this lesson. Another beat. Mum was firm, she said. She was honest, I said. Okay, she said. I'll try to do better. You can start by telling me ahead of time if you want to invite Olivia and Hayden to family things, I said, and by not making Mom pick sides. Okay, she said again, and we hung up before either of us could undo it. That evening, I went over to Mum's with a small plant in a terracotta pot, because I hadn't brought a wrapped present, and the empty corner by her kitchen window had been bothering me. She opened the door with a smile that reached all the way up. I like this, she said, setting the plant on the sill. It makes the room look like someone thought about it. We did, I said. Duncan came in from the garage with a smudge of something on his knuckle and pretended not to wipe it on his shorts. We sat at the table with iced tea and looked at dates for the next month. First Saturday, Mum said. Recurring. I told them about the turtles and the lavender water and the runner who laughed every time the nail salon door opened. They told me the motel AC rattled and someone set off their car alarm at 2 a.m. Krista had brought the cake into the lobby because the room was too cramped. Olivia took pictures at an angle that hid the carpet pattern. They went out on the second day, but never got the boat. It was okay, Mum said, not unkind. Simple. When I left, it was dark, and the June air had that heavy feel that means a storm might think about it, and then forget. I drove home with the windows cracked and my hands steady on the wheel. Back in my apartment, I opened my banking app and saw the refund posted. Real this time. I moved $200 of it into savings and left the rest for rent and groceries. Then I set my phone alarm for Saturday, even though it was 4 weeks away, just to see the little heart on the screen. I stopped waiting to be invited to my own family and started inviting myself to the parts that mattered. It wasn't a speech or a ceremony. It was a calendar event, a picnic basket, a chipped mason jar, a no, where I used to put a sure. The lake will still be there next summer. So will we, if we keep telling the truth.